Give me just a minute. I will be ready to start real this time in 40 seconds. Not doing this forever. Getting things set up. I think you can hear me too. No harmonica. I should have brought it. Oh, what's going on? Hold on. It's looping. Let me stop it. Oh my goodness. It's looping. Hold on. Oh man. I even promised you guys no loop. Yeah, turn it off. All right, I tried to stop it. Not trying to do this forever. Come on. How do I do it? I promise it's stopping. No harmonicas, I think I was saying. I don't know if I was if I was saying I should have brought the harmonica. Well, I just wanted to do this again to kind of, I know it's late or later in the United States. Good morning from Cebu, the Philippines. It's noon, high noon on Wednesday here. Or I'm sorry, on Tuesday. It's Wednesday there. I think I got the times right. I scheduled this to start, I believe, correctly, which would be whatever I said. I think it was 8 p.m., 9 p.m. East Phoenix time. Yeah. So I just want to jump on. I'm going to go over a couple things. This is for me. I'm probably going to be making some videos from my lives. And but there we go. Hey, Mike. Yes, Monday. Yes, Monday there. Tuesday morning here, Monday night there. Thank you. And we'll be leaving tonight, technically about a quarter after midnight, which actually makes it, so it's the 8th there, it's the 9th here, but I'm leaving technically on the 10th. And last visit, which was 2 years ago, I almost made a serious mistake. When I knew I was leaving, what in my mind would have been like Tuesday night, which is today here, and I was going to come back, I was thinking I was going out tomorrow after midnight. The plane leaves at 12:15 a.m. tonight, not tomorrow. Anyway, I was really, this day when you travel internationally, and for those of you who do this all the time, this is probably elementary to you, but it's a big thing of knowing where you are in relation to the date and time. So a couple things I was just going to do for my reminder, kind of some reflections on been here about 21 days. Again, leaving out of Cebu tonight, going through Korea, back to Seattle, which I will get to. It will be the 10th there, the morning. And another mistake I made was I've booked 2 returning flights from Seattle to Phoenix. I should have I got to start writing these things down versus relying on just checking my phone, emails for what, because at the end of October, I booked my return flight on Alaskan Air from Seattle to Phoenix. And then I booked another flight forgetting, I guess, that I had a return flight on Alaskan. I checked Southwest rates and I just decided and then I booked a Southwest return flight. So the Southwest return flights um, departs at about 1 p.m. And then the Alaskan return flights departs at 4. It's a non-refundable one. Now, Southwest, I can, up to the time, I think, before I depart, I can get it refunded. So that's why I'm going to leave them both. Worst case scenario is I lose $50 to $70, something like that. But again, international travel, I'm a real rookie at it. And this is really only my second real trip, especially when you're talking about the distance that I've traveled and crossing the date line. But I get into Seattle, I think around 10:30 in the morning. I remember the line being huge to get through immigration to come back in. But then they had this app thing that if you downloaded, which I did, I got through really quick once I did that. I was able to skip the mass of people trying to return. And I'm hoping the same thing will be true when I get back there, because if that's the case, I think I will have time to get my one carry-on or my luggage that I check, and then find where the Southwest flight would be, because I think I'd really prefer to take that one if I can get there and checked in and everything by 1 p.m. It takes off. Technically probably have to be there by 12:30 or so. So that doesn't give me a lot of time, a little less than 2 hours to get on the Southwest flight, and then I'll be back in Phoenix by 4 o'clock the afternoon of the 10th. And then, take a few days to recover. I do have a few days before I have to return to my job, and that'll be really nice, catching up, getting things ready. One of the things I wanted to just review here, and if you do have any, I know this is late for the boomer crowd, but normally I'm too early, And one of the things I wanted to reflect on and to kind of remember or notate are the top things that were almost, if without these, this would be a lot more difficult. And that is, number one, the booking engine Agoda. That's what I use to book all of my deals. My hotels, my resorts. I even booked a couple of airline tickets through them. And it all worked out except for that's one of the keys I'm going to remind myself from this trip versus the first one is don't book out more than a few days. You don't really, with the exception of airline, you don't have to book out weeks in advance to get the best price. So I did book when leaving Cebu, went to Bohol. And I was planning on spending 2-3 days there, maybe 4, but then I booked the next hotel resort on Siquijor about a few days to a week in advance. And what happened while on Bohol, we got that tropical storm that came through, and that delayed things quite a bit. 2-3 days extra there, which means lost the so then I tried to go, you have to go through the booking agent, and Agoda just kept saying they were no help. Absolutely the worst deal. Thank God it wasn't more than about $70, because it was only for one night. That's another thing I want for posterity to note, is that I book one night at a time for the most part. And because had I booked out 3 or 4 days, I would have lost all of it. What boiled down to the resort saying, yeah, we understand you're not being able to get off the island because all transportation ferries, which is the only way in and out of here to see, or canceled for like 3 days, 2.5 days. They said they would go ahead and push the reservation out for me. So I contacted Go and said, hey, they've agreed to that, no problem. they said, well, you have to go have them contact, you know, us or whatever. And anyways, it just got to be kind of a mess. I provided the documentation of my text message communication with Agoda customer service. I get a return. So, well, it'll be about 12, 48 hours. And I said, well, this needs to be done in the next 12 hours. Well, they were able to get it done, except it came from who knows the customer service area it came from. Person I was talking to, I believe it was in India, which is common. And what happened? Uh, he said, well, we just need to, get your confirmation that your flights were canceled. I went, flights? I said, this didn't have anything to do with flying. This had nothing to do with airline delays. This was a ferry, a boat. And yeah, so I just gave up on it. So I told him. And then, of course, right after that, I got how was our customer service? Would you rate it? And, well, they got the rating all right. I just let them know. But I don't know if there's I'm just writing it off. So between that little problem and the fact that I booked 2 return flights from Seattle to Phoenix, everything went really smooth. So the other thing I used on this trip that I found really helpful, and if you're traveling in this area of the world, Grab for taxis. And I did also use taxis, which actually worked out pretty well because there is some reports, especially in Manila, where you have to be careful of making sure you're metered and this and that. But Grab is like the Uber. I think Uber might even own them. But anyway, those great service, great, very simple. You have to download the app, put a card on it, and so that made the trip really easy. Using Grab for taxi service or transportation around. Which, speaking of that, when you're putting a card on it, I've used 2 cards. The first one primarily is Schwab. That card is known for, being the card to have when you're traveling internationally. Uh, if you're using ATMs, I've had no trouble whatsoever on either trip with Schwab. Had to contact their customer service one time last time. Man, they were on it just like that. It was a simple thing, mistake that I had made in using the ATM. So Schwab is, well, I'll never get rid of that card or that account unless they change. But they've made the trip very, very easy. Easy access to, getting money exchanged. Something else I was going to say about that. Schwab. Oh yeah, and then they reimburse any ATM fees. So within a few weeks or the end of the month or week, I've already gotten a couple reimbursed. So it's not really the end of the month, but yeah, so I don't have to worry about anything like that. And the fees are usually in the $3-4 range. And then lastly, the other card that's been a pleasant surprise was my SoFi, which is the it's one of those online banking only SoFi World card. That's worked. Like, I didn't even have to let them know I was traveling. Schwab, I did let know just to cover myself that I would be out of the country. But the SoFi World card, I just put it on my Apple Pay, whatever. I've used it a few times, and that's been, yeah. Again, it's very nice to know when you're in another country how to get your money. I didn't bring a lot of money with me. As a joke, kind of, I did have about 37 or $8 in pesos, Filipino pesos, from my last trip that I brought back and spent it here. And I'll be taking back a little bit probably this time, or I might just give it away. I don't know. Probably I won't have too much left. So, Agoda, Grab, Schwab card, and SoFi. The SoFi World card have been my Those have made the trip traveling internationally seamless. My costs for the trip. I know a lot. I know there's interest. I know there's been some questions and some. What did it cost? What did you pay for this, that? I'm going to do a complete breakdown on those kinds of things in a future video. Hopefully within the next couple weeks. I'll go through as much detail. Now, I did really good about keeping track of my expenses every single day up until the last 3 or 4 days, 5 days, 4 days. I've been back here, and so I just got lazy. It's yeah, just got kind of lazy, but I kind of know how many pesos. I was taking out like $100, which was about 5,000 pesos each time, and so I kind of know what went on with that. I'll get a price breakdown. I will say probably the biggest expense was probably the resorts and the hotels. Um, and and I went very reasonable. I think my overall cost is going to be less than I had planned, less than I had budgeted for, which is really good because I ended up staying at the Red Planet uh, Hotel in Cebu, which is for various reasons, but it's just a nice little simple place. Like averages is about $26 to $28 a night. I'll mention this in just a second. What if you get sick on an international trip? And so the most I spent was on Sigihor, which was a resort. The video I just put out yesterday it was on Thanksgiving, and that was the day I went to or spent at that resort. Did end up spending one more night there a few nights later because the rate was in the $90 range per night, and that is considered one of the best resorts on the island. It's an older resort, but all everybody who's anybody has stayed there in the Philippines. It's just a beautiful location. Check out the sunset in that video, or even the sunrise. So that's the range of it. And then in the mid between with some of the other resorts, they were in the $40 to $70 range. Now again, some of these would be, Cocoa Grove and a few others. Those would definitely be a few hundred, if not a higher hundreds per night in the United States. They definitely are that level of quality and just really, really good. I spent money on coffee at Starbucks almost every day that there was a Starbucks available. Not every day, but that's mostly in Cebu. Different places in the other islands for coffee in the morning. Yeah, I didn't really eat. You get on these kind of trips over here, and you just kind of, uh, it's not like uh, I ate a lot of chicken and rice, and not from expensive restaurants. Ended up a number of meals from the 7-Eleven, believe it or not. 7-Eleven is it's way different. If you are aware of 7-Elevens, like I grew up in Colorado in the 60s and 70s, and lived there till 2007. But 7-Elevens, I wouldn't usually buy anything from 7-Eleven. It's just too expensive. But these 7-Elevens are like these little mini marts, and there was nothing super expensive there. So I think a piece of chicken, which was good, fried chicken, and the rice and a little thing of gravy, I think was like under two. It was a buck something, $2 tops. What else did I want to maybe review here? Yeah, so I think budget wise, this trip, when I get it all detailed out, I'll come in under budget of what I thought, which is great. Uh, yeah, with the exception of, then I have those little bit of things where I booked the two airline trips at the same time. Have to come up with a better system of keeping track of these things. Oh, Wi-Fi. I wanted to mention Wi-Fi. That's something that got, when you come to, you adjust your attitude when you come, let's say, to the Philippines, and, you got to slow down. You got to be simple. You got to be patient, like above all else. And you got to have an understanding that, things aren't run here, nor do they have access here of necessarily everything you come accustomed to in the West. And one of those things is Wi-Fi. Now, here in this inexpensive hotel, I got great Wi-Fi, very good, actually better than what I got at home. But on a number of the resorts, especially the most expensive resort, had terrible Wi-Fi. No, just terrible, slow. It wasn't even worth it, and it was frustrating. On the other hand, the best Wi-Fi was from the little resorts on Siquijor, where they had, and this is something new just in the last 2 years. I don't remember anyone having SpaceX. What do we call it? It's not called SpaceX. Elon Musk's, um, Wi-Fi. Oh my goodness! But you know what I'm talking about, right? They had put that in at a number of places, and wow, the Wi-Fi there is, nothing compares. It's a high speed feed, uploads and downloads of 150 plus, whatever they are, and megabytes or whatever it's called. So that was a pleasant surprise. And as a result, that will come into play in terms of my decision making on what I would book in the future when I travel. I think that's true in the United States as well. Wi-Fi, the internet's become such a part of our lives, and I know there's a time and place maybe to just disconnect. But when you need that here. It's important, especially when you're dealing with everything I did here was done through my phone. I didn't bring my computer. Now I do have my iPad. I seldom used it. This is probably, I think I used it twice really, and that was for these two lives that I did. So Wi-Fi is definitely something that I think on any travel occasion, I will be. That's going to be on my list to check on what as best as I can is which place has good Wi-Fi. Um, Simple. Yeah. Okay. Some things that I've realized on this trip. One of the major things of this trip is to, this was my second visit. I wanted to, I'm seriously considering it as a potential place to retire on Social Security, basically. Um, how realistic is it? It's very realistic. But, prices are going up here. And the things right here, I made a short list of uh, things that I would need. I see these guys come here, you can go live in what they call the province, which is like the country. You can live off less than $1,000 a month easily, but you've got to eat like a local. You've got to, and you got to live like it. And that looks like this. You got to basically eat rice. Your meals are with rice. You might have vegetables with it, which are good. You might have fish. Meat would be rare, not rare as in medium rare, rare as in not very often. And you know what that looks like? It's funny because I'm gonna try to figure out how to do a video on this, but the day I had a party with a family that I know here that I met 2 years ago. It was a great reunion, and we had a party. Now I brought the chicken. They cooked everything last time. It was pretty amazing. I said, no, I want this to be a no work, relax, sit around, have beer, Red Horse, and whatever they would like, uh, and Coke, uh, and and I'll bring chicken. So ended up picking up chicken from town, which is about 20-30 minutes outside the mountain area that they live on, is about 30 some minutes away. I think picked six chickens that were, these are whole chickens, kind of like what you get at Costco, and the rotary rotary ch- roasted chickens. And so we had a great little party. Well, during that morning, I guess, one of the guys in the family had caught an eel in I, I asked him, is it a stream? No, we don't have a stream up here or a river, but it was some kind of waterway, and it was found in a pool, and I think it was an electric eel or something. Anyways, they prepared that. I have a little video about that, and they offer, I ate a piece of it. Now, here's the weird thing. It was really good. It tasted really good. I think they used a coconut water mix for cooking it, open fire. I kind of wanted to eat more of it, but psychologically, with the Western mind, when something doesn't come from a package, a USDA inspected, package, or a box, or a can, and that's one of our major problems with the food supply in our country. It's not fresh. This was fresh, but psychologically, I couldn't see myself. I was afraid it might upset my stomach, and it might have, because um, our systems. If you go to Mexico, you got to be careful with what you eat, how you eat it, etc. And you know what? Did I just realize something? Oh, I was supposed to have this up there the whole time. Oh, brother. Hey, Karen, I see you just came in. Hey, yeah, I'm actually pretty close. I'm a lot closer to you than I was. We're only a few hours difference, I think. Because Karen, I'll get your comment up here in a second. Uh, Glad you could pop on. And anyway, eating that eel was a little bit of a challenge, but I shouldn't have been, really. So that was pretty cool. But I need the things I've realized I need if I were to live here. And I have moved closer to saying I think this is a viable option for me. I think it'd be really great, at least most of the year. But here's the thing: I need, number one, some food, Western type food, and especially if I continue with my ketovore type of diet, that's going to be limited rice, and it would be, um, okay. So it's getting access to steaks, very difficult, very expensive, although it can be done depending on where you're at. I ate at a restaurant yesterday. Can't think of the name all of a sudden. It's kind of a different name. It's a Japanese Okinawa steakhouse. It's real simple, though. It's not some fancy place. It's as good a steak as I have ever had from a restaurant. Now you're gonna think that's crazy. Now, yeah, okay, let's get real. I can hear people that'll be watching this on the replay. Well, then you haven't been to a good steakhouse. Yeah, I've been to a few, not that many though. We're talking about, maybe. I mean, I've been to Ruth Chris. That's considered. I know a lot of you going, oh, that doesn't count. But I know, Phoenix has some really outstanding steakhouses, and no, I have not eaten there that I recall. But here's the difference. Those steaks are going to run upwards of, I don't know, 70, 80 to 100 or more dollars for a filet mignon or a ribeye, 12 ounce, maybe tops. This steak was 7 or so ounces. It's Australian beef. And I've heard Australia has some great beef. Hey, right, Karen? Even though you're in New Zealand. But and Australia's, anyway, that would be, I would look for a source to get my steaks from Australia here. Why? I mean, I'm telling you guys, I have a video that I did some video of that, and I'm gonna have to I raved about it. Even afterwards, I just thought this was the best meal I've ever had here. And it is as good a steak, if not the best steak I've ever had at a place. Now, my steaks are my best steaks. I know, and I'm going to share my secrets to that. So all you guys that think you got to grill your steaks and do all this stuff, no, I used to do it all. Now I went to the cast iron method, and finish them in the oven for an amazing experience. And that was what was so cool about this steak place is um, they they basically do it like they sear both sides actually, and they finish it to medium rare, and then they put it on a ripping hot lava rock. It's like a pizza stone, but it's a lava rock, they say. And then that steak continues to cook on that, and that's how it's served to you, and it's sizzling. Now it was so hot that I had to stop mine after about a minute and a half, 2 minutes tops, to keep it at medium rare. So I put it on a plate, and then what I really liked about it is as I got to the end, the last few pieces, I I put the I would take a piece and put it back on the lava rock, heat it. It was still real hot, and it would keep that meat warm to hot. So as I continued to eat it, and it's funny because about 7, 8 ounces is what my normal serving is back home. I eat that maybe twice a day. It's not like a 12 ounce or 16 ounce steak. It's funny, but that seems to hit the spot for me twice a day. Anyway, fantastic. And if I were to live here, I'm gonna realistically have to come up with something like that. Um, the other thing I'm gonna need is AC, or as they call it here, aircon. That's been going nonstop. Well, except when you leave, you pull the card out, it stops, but you come back. Um, it hasn't been really too bad here, but to live full time, most people here have at least, they don't have the old kind of air conditioners like this. They have those units uh, that very efficient. They're actually less, they use way less electricity than traditional air conditioning units, but they're super efficient and they really cool things quickly and thoroughly. And they'll have those typically in the bedrooms or one other room, and you use it when you're in the room. So yeah, I'm gonna have to have AC. I know that. I'm gonna have to have my food, and then the medical care, hospital care. Definitely a concern. I thought, what happens if something happens on this trip? Because most of the time, I've been in areas that there's nothing they could do. We're talking about a medical event. It could be an accident, it could be a heart event, or stroke, and that could happen at any time. But that's life, and I just realized I catch myself all the time, even in Arizona, thinking about, well, do I want to go do this hike or do this? What would happen if? You know what? What happens if it happens? And I have come to commit to living without, I mean, wisely. For example, I think I've ruled out as much as I'd want to live in areas that are a little more rural here, or some of these islands are just paradise. They're just so beautiful, so kicked back, so great. But they're remote, and I think I'll have to limit that to my visits versus living. I think I'm going to need to be, for my own peace of mind, in a place that could handle a higher level of trauma, as you get older. Um, and I got this sinus thing, the first week or so I was here, and gosh, it turned out to be pretty heavy. But I was obviously in Cebu when that happened, and I remember well, it started, didn't do much one day, and then this first full day of this thing, I just stayed in bed. I just stayed, um, and took care of me and rested. Did go to the pharmacy here, and get everything I needed, the cold sinus thing and the Vicks. I'm a Vicks believer in Vicks. And the next day I was ready to go. But I saw this aftermath of the sinus and that type of thing. That's been a little bit, but not, didn't have aches or pains or fever, that kind of thing. So that's been good. I did bring Tylenol with me. I luckily had Tylenol. That's all I needed. So those were the big things. Those are things that I've realized a move here would be at the top of my list of things that would have to be met for me to be comfortable, as well as well, comfortable physically and comfortable emotionally, mentally, to live in the Philippines. The food, having the right food or access to it, AC, and medical care, which the pharmacy was really so good. Didn't have to have a doctor's prescription, that kind of thing. One other thing I've learned on this trip is to watch the weather. So it was exactly 2 years ago this past week that I visited the last time. Not a drop of rain for 2 weeks. Well, I was here for maybe 12 days. This time, 20 some days. Now, we're supposed to be out of the typhoon season. Now, the month before I got here, 3 typhoons ripped through every 7 to 10 days. Cebu. And some bad ones, really bad ones. And I'm going to get to your comments here in just a second. We just got a few of them, and I appreciate you guys. But when I left Cebu and I, got to Bohol, I was clueless as to what was one about 36 hours away, which was a tropical storm shifting. And they went to Signal 1 the first morning. So we spent the day, and then the next day went to Signal 1 as this thing approached. It's a developing hurricane in Western terminology. Here it's a developing typhoon. Signal 1 is kind of like a Category 1 hurricane, higher winds, heavy rain, and it was moving, and it moved directly across Bohol. And it was really nothing. And most people around here say Signal 1 is not too bad, but that's why they cancel all seagoing vessels during any kind of Signal 1 through 5. And they were canceled for 2 days, 2.5 days. So so I can tell you, I've been watching, and everything works off Facebook here. I've been watching the weather. Matter of fact, we just had another tropical storm pass 2 days ago. Luckily, it looked originally like it was going to track through here today, which I thought, oh no, my flight's going to get canceled or delayed, which actually I would be okay with because I got time right now. I don't have to be back to work for, 5 more days, 6 more days. Give me more time here, which would have been a good thing. Anyway, it's beautiful out. It's going to be no problem, and there is no other storms in sight, according to the trackers here. All right. So, watch the weather and then be careful of your reservations. There is something to be said to book direct with the resorts that you have, but you usually pay a little bit more. But because if you book with an agency like I did with Agoda, you got to go through your agency. And anyone that's been involved with travel, you know that. And like I said, I got absolutely no help. So did get help by the resort, and that was the Infinity. There's Infinity Sands, that's why, and then Infinity Heights on Sigiora. I'm going to put down all the places that I've personally been to, and so if you come to the Philippines, that'll be. I'll provide my trip review because I wish I kind of over the years when I watched this stuff, I thought, oh, where was it those people stayed, or where was it those people ate, or I'll put that together as a PDF. How about that? I can just you can download it. But that's kind of everything I was thinking of to review on my trip thus far, and going back here, this is Karen in New Zealand. We're good friends, right, Karen? She's a up and coming YouTuber and does a great job with. She's done a great job with her interviews and developing her own style with her channel. And she's in New Zealand, and yeah, so she says, Australia. Oh my goodness, I can't see it on this. Australia has incredible beef and food generally. Yeah, I'm telling you what. I think it's this. It may be overall, but I mean, look, the United States always leads with, hey, this is the best. We've got the best. I'm not buying into that all that much. You need AC in Arizona. You darn right we did. That's an interesting, real, ready. Um, as a matter of fact, in the depth of summer, of which I've lost my AC over the last, I don't know how many years have I been there now, about almost 15 maybe, but twice in the depth, the middle of summer when it's 105 to 115 or more, and that's a dangerous situation in Arizona. And yeah, where you're waking up a couple times a night, jumping in the shower to wet your hair and everything, and then putting a fan on you to try to stay, the interior of my house, my mobile was, which it's actually pretty well insulated, but it was it was 97, 98, 99. I don't think it ever hit 100, and that's at night in there. Yeah, that was terrible, but you need AC. Here you could actually get away without it. Matter of fact, I know people here that won't even put the AC on in a hotel or resort. It's too cold. They don't use AC where they live, and they're comfortable, because the average temperature year round here is 80s. It just can get the barometer of the barometer, as in the method of what you're measuring, that can get uncomfortable is the humidity. So it can get really, really uncomfortable. And for this old boy, I remember Arizona's a dry heat. Where do you think you are in terms of shifting there and not shifting there? Oh, you know what? That's to be thought about, Karen. It's a good. That's the question. I the number one thing is, I know this. I would not leave to live here full time without knowing that I can see my kids and my grandgirls and grandson at least twice a year. Now, what happens is, now I haven't seen them now for a few months. And oftentimes when I see them now, it's less than a week at a time. Now, if I get fully retired, which I'm hoping this year is the year for that, um, I would see them more. I could even live there, but I can't. I'd have to work to live there because where they live is pretty expensive in this Austin area of Texas. And so where am I? Here's my ideal, is to get a place here to experience, just the Asian culture, the Filipino ways, are just so nice. The respect, there's so many positive. I'll have to do a kind of a, I'll have to do a rundown of all these things, because it's why you would consider here. Now, there's other places as well, Central America, and it's a lot closer. All those things will come into play, and it might be one of those things ultimately there where could be it could be in multiple ways, but there'd be at least two visits of a month to 2 months at a time with the grandkids, and friends, seeing friends. So yeah, that's kind of the deal. There is no definitive answer to that question yet. Where am I though? 50-50. What do you think of that answer? Arizona or Philippines, Reddy says. Well, yeah, the answer is yeah. I there's this is my second trip. This one was for 3 weeks, and I think it was even a better trip than the first one. The first one couldn't have gone much better. I can tell you that. Wait, what's this say here? Why are you leaving so early when you have more leave? Well, I only have it part of it was to make sure I didn't I'm on a leave of absence actually to get this extra time. And part of it is just making sure to be stress free, I guess is the answer, Karen. Just to be completely stress free. Um, so, uh, yeah, stress free. just to give myself, if there was a delay, all those things. I did not want to schedule my return like similar to what I did last year, is where I returned and I returned the day before I had to go back to work. And I ended up taking one of my sick days afterwards, just, not to have to go right back. So this way I have scheduled about 5 or so days, 6 days leeway. But when I get back, I have many things I want to do, especially with YouTube, my channel, getting some things put together. I have so many things to do around the house. So yeah. Did you find a Mrs. Phil there, a Mrs. Filipina? Maybe. You know, I have a topic I'd like to discuss with the viewers about the people that come over here to date, etc., and particularly the American perspective on that. It's overall not good, and I want to crush the prejudice, I'm a little tired. Why is that? I don't know. A little bit of just some of the views people have of these things. Why, yeah, there's a lot to that, but yeah, I mean, no, I guess it's all to be said, and the story will be told, but it'll be told on my terms, and it'll be told in a way where, I mean, like, I've got people at work that said, oh, they heard a rumor. I was told 2 days before I was leaving. So I heard you're not coming back. You're going to shack up with some woman over there, some Asian woman. I mean, this is the American. They were serious, guys. I mean, this is like, and that it's embarrassing. It also angers me. It also angers me. Like, come on, guys, I'm coming back. I got a job here. I would, if I did that, I'd let you know. I would have given my notice. Okay. Oh, Reddy says every extra day costs more money. Okay, legit. How much is this extra day? Actually, extra couple days. Well, yeah. I don't know if you meant that. Like, yeah, if I stay here, I got to. That's right. There is more money, and that actually came into play. But I'll tell you, right now, the cost of my extra stay, if I stay the next few days, if I were to do that, I would stay here at Red Planet about $28 a night. Super convenient to right across the street this way is the mall. I'm actually headed, I'm pretty sure I'm going to go for another steak. It's going to cost me $14. $14 for some bone broth, I think soup. It's delicious. For a little thing of rice, cup of rice, and the steak. And actually, it's going to cost me less than that because that's for the big steak, the 7-8 ounce. I'm probably going to go with the 6 ounce because I don't need to, eat heavy with this big trip, and they're going to feed me on the plane anyway. So this will be my protein meal today. It's going to cost me 150 pesos to get up there. That's with about a 50 peso tip, and 100 pesos back with a 50 peso tip. This is what I do. And that's going to be about $2, 100 pesos, a little over $2 each way. So it's going to be a little over $4, probably $4.50 for transportation. And so yeah, food wise, and I'm going to splurge because I wasn't eating meals here costing me $14. The most expensive thing I did while I was here was Starbucks. That was costing the coffee. Well, the coffee's still an Americano. A brewed coffee, which they didn't have the last few days, was just over $1. And then normally that's $3 at Starbucks in the United States. Americano was about $1.50, something like that. So it was about the same. So yeah, I mean, costs are the biggest cost that I did factor in was if I stayed 3-4 more days, it was lodging. And I wasn't confirmed how much that was going to be. As I knew it'd be at least $30-$40. So I was in 100, but as it turns out, it's less than $30 a night. Yeah, so Karen says Philippine people are so lovely, a really gentle people. You know, 100%. I hope I can figure out how to tell. I'm gonna do a video about the family, the partying in the Philippines, Filipino style. Uh, it was just laughs, good times, good feelings. And unfortunately, I wasn't very good on this trip. One thing I did learn a little bit to do is how to video, Karen, when I'm here. You know, you did your trip, and we were all sitting back here going, "Come on, Karen, post an update and show us more." And the one that I caught or two, they were great. But you know, it's not like you want you to have your camera out a lot. Now that's where these came in amazing, guys. What are they? The Meta glasses. And yeah, I can wear these right now. So I'm gonna now normally I have a funny interaction in my last video about how I didn't realize I was actually filming with them when the girl at the check-in was saying, "Oh," she recognized the just connected with my phone. So I can say, "Hey, Meta, start recording." Now watch the light come on. There it goes. So now you see, is it on? Yeah. I'll put this in. So this was my last live for the record from the Philippines with the people. And I have more people on now than 10 people, I think, than earlier. You guys always come in late and make me stay late, but I really appreciate it. It's fun to talk to you guys. Anyway, two people just dropped off. They probably popped on and said, "What the heck is this guy?" Anyway, so what I realized though, I can either say and say, "Hey, Meta, stop video," and it's off. I was having problems just saying Meta, 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 and it doesn't work. You have to say hey, just like when you do Siri or whatever. It's hey, or you can just do this. I can take a picture. There we go. I just took a picture, and then I can do where I just long hold and start another video. Right? I can't see. Yeah. So anyway, um, what was the point of me bringing these out? I forgot. Anyway, what was Philippine? Oh, people are, yeah. So I use these a lot on my trip to record all kinds of things. Now there's these strict laws here, and I probably broke a few potentially, but I got permission to everyone I needed to, and mine wasn't to make fun of anything. And there's a lot of people doing that. So Karen says yes, of course it all makes sense. What about the Mrs. Phil or the oh, cutting the days short? Yeah. Ah, yeah, Reddy, you're right about this. I'm looking forward. That little baby kitty should be like, I think she's gonna be, I probably won't wreck. She's gonna be way bigger. That is for sure. I'm gonna cut this, stop the recording. I can read better with these. Yeah, and I've had a really nice lady take care of them, and I hope I still have them because I think she's seriously thinking about catnapping them. She loves them. They love her. Yeah, they just want to know who's going to feed them. Oh yeah. Hey Nick, you must have been woke up from the alert. Appreciate you stopping in. That's how workplace gossip goes. It's all trash talk. And these people meant no harm by it. These are basically my friends, but I've heard it all of the stories. And the thing is, these things are from a viewpoint that people have learned in the West and in the United States about a lot of stories that aren't good ones of what's happening in the world with relationships and those kinds of things. All right, Roger, good. I like this question. Is the power reliable? No. And yes. So Roger, that's something in my wrap up I want to cover reliability of power. because on the islands, like Seahor, I mean, there are brownouts all the time, every day, almost every week for sure. I met a guy here 3 days ago in the elevator. He's from Canada, and I asked him, what if he lived here or if he was visiting. He goes, "Well, I'm visiting, but yeah, I lived here for 3 years in Dumaguete, and he was over here because of a scheduled 12-hour brownout, which in the United States we call them blackouts. No electricity for 12 hours, sometimes longer. Now, being here in the bigger cities, there's a lot less of them. There are certain islands that have a lot less of them. And of course, the resorts will be on generator power, so you don't lose. I had no problems this trip with electricity. On my first trip, first night on Sigihor, showed up to the little hotel. It was like $20 a night. Well, guess what? Get what you pay for. They don't have generators. There was a brownout. They didn't know when it was coming back on. It actually ended up coming back on within about 30 minutes, so that was cool. And it is definitely something to research and be aware of. And I've thought about, even if I rented a place here, which is what I would do initially, um, there's condo life. They all have backup power, but having a generator for, those kind of things is important. I asked the guy, how about your fridge? How about your meats or whatever? Is how you just don't open it. It's an inconvenience, but you leave it go, it'll last for a day or so. Okay. Yeah, Roger, as far as health wise, with traveling gallbladder, should I show you? I brought, you mentioned, let's say eating the wrong foods, brought a lot of Pepto-Bismol with me just in case. I've had luckily a little bit of problem, nothing like, say, what do they call it? I've had nothing like Montezuma's Revenge. And those of you who are in the United States, you know what I'm talking about. At least I think you do. If you've ever been to Mexico, they call it Montezuma's Revenge. You do not want. And let me tell you this, guys. So there's a good thing and a bad thing about this, sort of. There's no toilet paper in public places here, usually. Although it's as it becomes more westernized, that you're seeing it now in the resorts and yeah, there's toilet paper. It's not. It's not Charmin, but there are bidets, but they're hand. And it seems real. You're like me. I thought, man, I don't know how to use. I'm not using that. Well, now after experience, oh my gosh, it's like I'm thinking about having one installed. Just not the fancy. In America they got to try to make it real. Whatever, you got to have this seat that comes up with jacuzzi jet type things. That's so ridiculous. Every nice place here has a hand where that's how they wash. Way more sanitary, way more clean, versus toilet paper. And then they do have toilet paper, but those are things you gotta be aware of. Karen says those glasses look great. Yeah, well, they're, hey, for my haters out there, let me show you. Let's be sure we understand what these are. These are Ray-Bans, baby. They're Meta AI glasses, and they are transition lenses, so they do clear up a little bit more. They're kind of getting off. These are pretty clear. They'll get darker when you're in the sun, so that's cool. I'll do another bit of video here, and I'm making my wrap up. I will talk about this live, and we're at 59 minutes, and you guys, let's see what we got going here. Karen says, yes, Nick, people love some work, goss. Get a story going. Yeah, we'll see what. I hope. Trust me, guys. I don't know what'll happen. I'm sure everybody's going to want to know at least, like, wow, what they're I don't. Yeah, there's stories to tell. There's pictures to share, video, etc. Good thing no brownout while in the elevator from Ready. Well. So some are scheduled, many are, and I think there's a reason for that. But yeah, I suppose if that happened, you're there till, sometimes it's a short period of time. There's a loss of electricity. Other times it could be more major. And I think in the bigger cities, it's less of a problem, at least in the developed areas. Nick says that's an odd fact. No TP in public restrooms. Never thought of that. Yeah, that is a real thing. That's why people will say bring your own if you're a Westerner, that kind of thing. Don't leave home without it. I had a bidet installed during COVID because of the oh man, look at that. I think that's a great idea. So what I'm looking for is what they use here. It's not I mean some of these are expensive and really nice things. This is simply hooking into the water line and yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay, what's this? Okay, Maverick. Oh, I'm not. I don't know the reference to that. Yeah, the Meta glasses are great. Let me tell you. So this was kind of like a Christmas present. Well, it's also, as I called it in that last video I did or live, a business expense because these surpassed my hope for why I got them, which was the hands-free aspect of it. So I have a lot of video. I just found myself just doing this rather than taking out my camera all the time, doing video with that. I just start a video with these. The only downside, as a matter of fact, the quality of the video, if you want to see what it looks like, go watch, go check out the video I posted a day ago about Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving Day here in the Philippines for me. And a lot of that video that's included in that were shot with these. The check-in, sunrises, and everything else. About the only thing that wasn't was probably the fiery ending, and you'll have to check that out. Now, these just automatically turned out because that is something about the glasses that's unique. 3 minutes max, it'll record at one time, which I think is good actually. And it's great for doing B-roll stuff or just catching a moment for a minute or two. So yeah, Top Gun. I don't know about that. What again? I don't know if you guys are. Oh my goodness. All right, guys. So it's been just over a minute or so over an hour. This was done to just so I had a little documentation here as I leave here in about 11 hours. Just after midnight tonight. It's 1 p.m. in the afternoon. I am now headed probably. I'm gonna rest up for an hour or so, just relax. Pretty much ready to go. Then I think I'm gonna jump on take a cab up for $1 or so with tip to 1.5 miles away to that Japanese steakhouse. Have me a medium size, so it'll be less than the big one is 700 some pesos. The other one is probably 600 some pesos. Had my little broth of soup and the rice. And then come back and just again, okay, last thing to do before I leave is download YouTube videos or podcasts that I want to listen to on the flight back so I can watch it. Now you have to have a paid version, I think, of it, and that's something I messed up on. I thought if I downloaded from my iPad I could watch it on my phone, same account. Can't do that, or it didn't do that. So that's what I'll do this afternoon. Make sure I have everything I wanna watch, and it'll be a collection of information, how to, YouTube suggestions, YouTube, advisement, entertainment, vloggers, all that stuff. I'll have more than enough. So it helps me visualize and accept I'm going to sit on an airplane seat for a few hours and just watch TV is the way it will boil down. Speaking of which, my itinerary, I fly from here, Cebu, the Philippines, to Seoul, Korea. By choice, I'll be covering about the planning of the trip in that wrap-up video and my reflections. And then I have a 10-hour layover. At first, when I first was suggested to me by a friend of mine, I said, "Are you crazy? Why would I want to do that? I want to get home." No, I want to do that. Now, last trip, I went and saw the DMZ. They give a number of free tours while you're there. It's pretty cool. Everything free in Korea. And I went to the DMZ. That was really cool. As much as I'd like to do another tour, I'm pretty sure when I get there, I'm just going to chill and I'm going to work on a video. I'm going to work on a video, I think, about either the food I ate, because a couple people mentioned, "What kind of food are you eating?" What kind of food? I'm thinking that might be a fun video to do. And the food. And then I've got one on the transportation. A little bit. My favorite mode is trike. So, or the tuk-tuk, as some people call it in the West, or they call it here. So I'm gonna work on a video. I'll have, what, 10 hours, well, maybe 8 hours of time. There's supposed to be a lounge there that for, I think, $17 American dollars, you can get a shower, you can just, maybe some food. But I'm gonna relax, because then from there, it's faster flying back. It's normally 11 and a half hours to 12 hours. I think going back will be 9.5 to 10 hours. That's like, okay, that's great. Be in Seattle. Then if I get through whatever and everything works out, I'll take the south, get back about 10 in the morning. If that all works out, I'll take the Southwest flight back, leaving at 1, be back in Phoenix by 4. If not, I'll cancel it for a future credit and then take the Alaskan Air at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, get back at 7 p.m. Now, someone's going to jump on here. Probably no one's going to be watching this late in the live, but I didn't plan it that way. That was not by design. That was by mistake. Because I forgot I'd already booked my return flight at 4 p.m. Okay, guys. Maverick only wears Ray-Bans. I didn't know that. All right, very good. And Nick, you say, "I'm envious but happy for you. A steak dinner and maybe a last walk on the beach before leaving. Sounds wonderful." Actually, won't be any walk on the beach. Beaches here in Cebu are extremely limited. You'd have to go a while up or down to get to a beach here. The coastline here is not beachy. There is access to a couple, and one of them is near the airport. But that, I think they brought the sand in for that. The problem though with that is traffic. I've got some clips. I don't know if it fully captures what being in traffic here is like, but it can be over an hour. What should have taken 20 minutes, 30, can be an hour and a half. So I will be leaving again early to make sure I get to the airport in plenty of time, because that traffic can be bad at any time of day or night. So that's going to be my day. And if you're watching this later, drop a comment if you have any questions about that you'd like me to cover in my reflection video on my trip to the Philippines. Will be covering some of the questions asked in this live about, did I make a decision about, where to live, about retiring, etc. Appreciate all that. And now we're going to end with my favorite way to begin a StreamYard live stream, and that is with a countdown. Can I do it? Nothing seems to work. What in the world? We'll see y'all soon. Back in the USA.